to introduce to you by means of reading their bios. Jay Himes is the Executive Director of the Pennsylvania Association of School Business Officials, that's PASBO. He was appointed to his current position in February 1996. He is a graduate of Bethany College in Bethany, West Virginia, and the University of Pennsylvania with a bachelor's degree in communications and a master's degree in governmental administration. Mr. Himes received Certified Association Executive designation in September 1997, and he was recertified in years 2001, 2004, 2007, 2013, and 2016. He was also the past president of the Pennsylvania Society of Association Executives, PASAE, and he served as chair of the American School Business Officials International Affiliate Executive Director Group for 2004-2005, and chair of the ASBO International Legislative Committee. Mr. Jay Himes.
Thank you so much for the opportunity to be here. I appreciate the fact you took time to learn about this important issue. I'm going to be talking about a few different aspects of the Property Tax Independence Act. This is not a piece of legislation currently before either the House or Senate. It is a bill that's been around for a couple of sessions and certainly will be reintroduced at some point. But right now we are going off of previous versions and discussions with the prime sponsors and other involved in the legislation. Let me look and talk a little bit about Canon-McMillan, the school district that you're in. 57 square miles, serving a population of about 34,000 people. The median household income in the district is about $62,000. To give you a comparison, the median statewide household income is about $55,000. So you're about 10% above the statewide median. The district serves 5,200 students. We have 500 school districts in Pennsylvania, and 5,200 puts you in the upper reaches. The statewide average would again be about 3,500 students. However, most districts are between 1,500 and 3,000 students, and in fact, we have 10% of the 500 districts, about 10%, serving student populations below 1,000. So we're really a state of fairly small school districts. If we look at the statewide picture, we'll give you a comparison of Canon-McMillan to some statewide data, as you'll see. Across the state, the total from local taxpayers, in form of total local resources, is about 58%. And that's a discussion item that we often have about what is the appropriate amount of local taxes versus state support. As you'll see in this pie chart, the total state revenue is about 37%. It's been about that amount for a decade. Once upon a time in state law, we actually had a goal that the state should pick up half the cost of local education systems. That eventually was repealed, and we've been below 40% again for several decades, which puts us in the bottom 10 of states in terms of the percent provided by state government. And then you'll see the other part of that federal revenue, which is usually very small and pointed towards poverty programs in poor districts. Again, if you do a quick comparison, total state revenue 37% statewide, Canon-McMillan's at 28%. Again, proportionally, if you look at the other side of the coin in terms of local revenues, Canon-McMillan generates 7 out of $10 from local taxpayers. If we look at countywide on the next slide, you'll give an idea of, again, local revenue, that's from local taxpayers, state revenue from the state, federal and other programs. As you'll see in this chart, Washington County is the highest in terms of the amount of funds generated from local taxpayers at 50%. Conversely, it gets the lowest amount of state resources, 42%. On the other hand, Fayette County, with some of the very poor districts in the state, their local revenue generated from local taxpayers is 31% versus 64% coming from state government. Now, if we look at property taxes specifically on this next slide, You'll see again the 4 counties plus Canon-McMillan, percent of local revenue, and then in that column beside it, you'll see the percent of local revenue from property taxes. Now obviously, you're here tonight because of this subject matter, and also because it's a subject near and dear to everybody who gets that property tax bill in the mail. There are other forms of local taxes that you pay, not of which is quite as evident or quite as big as your property tax bill. Earned income taxes are paid to school districts and municipalities. We have per capita tax, we have some occupation tax. We have a really transfer tax. You buy or sell a property, you pay a tax. It gets split between the state and your school district and municipality. It's clear one thing. Any discussion about local taxes is complicated. It's complex. We have 2,500 municipalities that are independent taxing bodies. We have 67 counties that are, again, independent taxing bodies. And we have 500 school districts, again, independent taxing bodies. So no discussion about local taxes is a simple and easy discussion. It's just an incredibly complicated picture in Pennsylvania. We tried to address property taxes in Act 1 of 2006. As you see on this chart, I believe Act 1 did what the legislature intended it to do, which was to limit the amount of increases that could be raised by increasing the property tax by school boards. If you look, granted the years are very small, but about the last 6 years on that right side of that chart in terms of fiscal years, that average increase has been 2.6%. And I want to thank Senator Reschenthaler for pointing this out. A lot of that property tax is not driven by the fact that school boards like to raise property taxes. It's driven by the fact that pension costs have been so significant that there was no choice about what to do in order to raise the necessary funds to pay pension increases year-to-year basis. If you look at the left side, if you look at the, yes, your left side of that chart, that was before Act 1. The average increases in property taxes before Act 1 was about 6.5. On the right side, since Act 1 has been 2.6%, so I indeed believe that Act 1 did what it was intended to do. The next slide is also shows you, this is from the Independent Fiscal Office, a bunch of very smart people in Harrisburg that the legislature created to talk about state budget issues and data. They created this rather complicated chart, but Act 1 created the slots revenue, the gaming funds that were supposed to help you reduce your property taxes. And indeed, they have helped. There's a lot of money in gaming, about $4 billion in this chart. Only $660 million goes to school districts for the intended property tax relief that was promised at the $1 billion mark that never materialized. So there's been some property tax relief, $660 million from gaming, but it's never reached that elusive $1 billion that the proponents of the legislation said would happen. So you do get a homestead, farmstead, every school district has it. It's just quite never reached its potential, and it's never increased from the amount we originally had. All right, so let's talk about this proposal quickly. It really isn't property tax elimination, it is a property tax shift. School districts now levy about $14 billion statewide in property taxes. Those taxes are going to be replaced, except for the debt portion. They're going to be replaced by higher state sales taxes and higher state personal income tax. State sales tax would be raised and also expanded to cover a lot of items not currently covered. All right, the reason it's not property tax elimination were reasons you heard previously. Number one, school districts still have to pay their existing debt. And in order to do that, the property tax for the school district remains in place as long as the debt is in place. So they have to pay off their debt, and they do that with property tax. So only a handful, literally a handful of 500 school districts have no debt and will not have any property tax. And again, you're still going to have property taxes from your county and municipality. In my own school district in Dauphin County, Central Dauphin School District, right outside of Harrisburg, half my property taxes remain in place. 37% is my municipal and county tax. When I add on the debt that the school district would retain, my property tax bill, I would still have half of it. All right. Let's look at this next map. It's a little hard to see, but this is essentially what happens to this shift in terms of the dollars now being paid by local taxpayers to their school boards. So instead of paying property tax to your schools, property tax goes away except for the portion that's used to pay debt, and the rest is state dollars. So state dollars are collected in the personal income tax, and they're collected in the state sales tax, and then sent back to school districts. Now, there seems to be a common misunderstanding that there's somehow some big formula going to be used to distribute these dollars back to school districts. That's not the case. It is a dollar-for-dollar replacement of the school district's existing property taxes. So, what happens is, in Pennsylvania, districts that have the highest property taxes get the most reimbursed dollars out of the increase in the sales tax and the personal income tax. In fact, by this map, you'll see 6 counties. Philadelphia and the 4 suburban counties surrounding it, Bucks, Chester, Montgomery, and Delaware, plus Allegheny County. So almost 50% of all of the school property tax now levied, that reimbursement would go back to 6 of those counties. So, no formula, just dollar-for-dollar replacement. Meaning if you have high property taxes now, you get it all reimbursed. If you have low property taxes now, you get it reimbursed just like it was levied. So it locks in those disparities from school district to school district. All right, next, let's just take a quick look at actual rates of the tax replacements. So the state personal income tax would increase from 3.07% to almost 5%. Secondly, the sales tax increases from 6% you now pay, an additional percent gets paid now in each county, but 6% here in the other counties, gets increased by 1% to 7%, plus a whole list of things not subject to tax, get taxed. Certain food purchases get taxed. Clothing purchases over $50 get taxed. Your dry cleaning bill gets taxed. Your cable TV bill, trash collection bill, your parking fees, and heaven forbid, for your funeral, that also gets subject to the state sales tax. So, it gets expanded to a lot of things not currently covered, and the rate gets increased to 7%. And again, the dollars go back to school districts based upon what they do now, not any formula. It's based on what they collect. All right, if you look at the next slide, again, we talked about the fact that local property taxes will continue for a school district to pay off their existing debt. That debt might be short-term and temporary, or it could be long-term. Most new debt issues are at least 15 years, maybe 20 years, could even be longer than that. So as long as the debt remains in place, the district gets to levy the sales tax in order to collect that. So what happens in terms of looking forward to years after you get replacement of your property taxes? Well, you get an increase if the state sales and personal income tax increase, or there's a cost of living of I believe, 3%. It is the lower of each. And the problem of volatility is one that concerns school districts. All right. And then finally, on the next slide, school districts could not levy, raise, or collect a property tax going forward, again, with the exception of the debt. So once it's done, it would be done under Senate Bill 76. And then no new debt, so new construction projects would be subject to voter approval, but they would have to be tied to the personal income tax or a local earned income tax. So the rates on those taxes for large projects would be pretty significant in order to be funded out of income tax, which of course now, as you know from this presentation already, are funded out of property taxes. Okay, so that's a quick review of exactly what happens in the bill. We want to try to portray some of the implications for taxpayers and for school districts that we are concerned about. So, Hannah?